I'm Steve Mead, Artistic Director of MJF. It's the 20th festival, and many people are surprised it's the 20th, including us, and many others are surprised that Manchester has a jazz festival at all. But for something of a hidden gem, we managed to attract over 60,000 returning visitors each year who mark MJF out in their calendars, come down and enjoy the atmosphere, and open their ears to some incredible music. Over 10 iconic venues and 10 days, MJF brings Manchester alive with a programme of vibrant and varied contemporary music. New commissioned work, cross-art form collaborations, young emerging talent and established jazz stars. Music that ignores genre boundaries but borrows from them all, from pop and rock to folk, electronic, classical and world music. All fused by the spirit of improvisation that characterises the very best in jazz. I can't possibly cover all the 80 or so events here, so I've picked out for you some highlight events that give you a flavour of this year's programme. Hopefully they'll surprise you and inspire you to discover more for yourselves. And where better to begin than at the end? Riot Jazz Brass Band, who've been parping away behind me for the last few minutes, are the perfect headliners for our festival on the closing evening. Straight away you can feel their brassed-on energy and the spirit of Manchester blasting through their pipes. And in their own words, their 9-barreled Balkan to Brooklyn brass-boosted bounce. 10 years ago we presented this band on a stage on the back of a lorry in Albert Square. The crowds went bananas for it on the cobbles and it seemed like the time was right to welcome them back, but without us breaching so many health and safety regs. Orquesta Timbala is a 25-piece Afro-Cuban orchestra of percussionists and brass players, fronted by authentic Cuban vocalists. Their sound is so big you can hardly fit it in your ear, let alone get it all on stage. What I love about this band is that, like all the best things in life, it's noisy, enticing, rhythmic, exciting and leaves you sweaty afterwards. You'll be on your feet all night, and if you have any other movable body parts, then the Thwaites Festival Pavilion is a great place to shake as many of those parts as possible. It's a great place to hang out and catch the 40 or so bands on offer there throughout the festival. The Pavilion is also a great place to spot the stars of tomorrow, and we've traced so many blossoming artists' careers over our 20 years, and many come to our attention through the MJF Introduces scheme, which this year is sponsored by Manchester Arndale. This scheme seeks out talented musicians and bands from the Northwest, aged 16 to 25, and offers them their first major performance platform at MJF. Playing now is the energetic and edgy Taupe, one of the bands on this year's scheme. And one chap who doesn't need introducing is John Surman, one of England's most original jazz personalities and an artist signed to the prestigious ECM label. He's now living in Norway and he started making a mark on the scene back in the 60s. His Cornish roots have flavoured his music, which to my ears combines his love of jazz with British folk songs and the spaciousness you can hear in much Scandinavian music. For this concert, he'll be playing a suite of his own pieces with double bass and string quartet. And John splits his playing between the bass clarinet, the angelic sounds of the soprano sax, and the rather gruff baritone sax which you can hear puffing away behind me. The Reading Room in Manchester's recently refurbished Central Library is a wonderful domed space with a very particular reverberant quality, and I thought it'd be a marvellous acoustic setting for this concert. You can imagine John's tumbling sax lines echoing around the room, backed by those luscious strings. And this will be a very special event and the first time the Reading Room has been used for a concert like this. Talking of the ECM label and the bass clarinet, they crop up again in a wonderful lunchtime recital in St Anne's Church. This international ECM trio features a German clarinet player, an Italian pianist, and is fronted by another one of Britain's living jazz legends, Norma Winston. Back in the 60s, Norma pioneered a new approach to the voice, effectively using it as an instrumental part of the band, rather than just as a means of expressing a song. Decades of experience later, and she still possesses the magic, a huge vocal range, and the ability to tingle spines at 50 yards.
Lost are the songs.
And Norma was a great inspiration to one of Manchester's final vocal exports from recent years, Alice Savadsky. Alice has a wonderful cosmopolitan approach to music, elements of Jewish, Polish, Sephardic and Eastern European cultural heritage, and this is the band she's assembled to realise her wide-ranging songs. She's also a great violinist. Singer and DJ Jamie Cullum cites her voice as uncategorisable, beautiful and a real force to be reckoned with. Guitarist Stuart McCallum has toured with the Cinematic Orchestra, and his own music mixes electronic sounds and loops with a stripped-back approach to improvisation, focusing on textures and layers rather than flashy guitar solos. I've paired Alice and Stuart together in a programme, partly because they both wanted to incorporate strings in their MJF show, but also to exemplify two local artists we've supported throughout the developing years to the point where they've made their distinctive mark on the national jazz scene. Another great example of this is Manchester band Go-Go Penguin. Since they played one of their earliest gigs at MJF 5 years ago, they've really honed their craft, mixing simple classical themes and dance floor energy. They've been nominated for a Mercury, toured many major European festivals, signed to the prestigious Blue Note label, and multiplied their fan base tenfold. Starting from a conventional jazz format of piano, bass and drums, they brought in influence from a lot of contemporary pop culture and other music that simply means something to them. And this for me is what keeps jazz alive today, artists who aren't afraid to mix in sounds of the moment to keep the music fresh and forward-looking. Also fusing contemporary pop sounds, and again founded on the conventional piano trio format, is this dynamic American pianist. He's also signed to Blue Note and making huge waves in the US and Europe at the moment. Now, whereas Go-Go Penguin looked to classical and dance music, Glasper brings his hip-hop roots and a streetwise black culture to the bandstand. His gigs are like a frantic train ride, full of energy and surprise. And once you've boarded, there's no getting off until this service terminates. Our international strand clocks up quite a few jazz air miles now as we jet set from the US all the way back to France for this next band. I've been trying to get RL's band to MJF since I first came across her music at a wonderful festival in France. She's just been awarded the accolade of French Jazz Musician of the Year and has also won the Django Reinhardt Prize for her music. But don't let the Django reference trick you into expecting 1930s style Hot Club de Paris. Let me steer your ears into the direction of her very personal sound world. There's a sense of tender melancholy about her trumpet playing and a fragility about the songs, but it's this very essence that I find so appealing. We're enticed into a world of music that's open and not afraid of showing us the emotional states that led directly to the creation of these beautiful, honest songs. Most of all, I'm really excited about giving the band its UK premiere at MJF this year and sharing her music with other listeners. RL's band features a Swedish vocalist, as does this next project, in the form of Emilia Martinsson, whose delectable voice you can hear oozing behind me. She's just one of the artists in a spectacular new cross-art form piece we've commissioned with our friends at Manchester Literature Festival from saxophonist and composer Ian Bellamy. Ian's made a mark on the national and international jazz scene. He's a gifted, expressive saxophonist and composer and loves working with poets and visual artists. To mark MJF's 20th year and the Literature Festival's 10th year, we've commissioned him to collaborate with poet Matthew Sweeney and visual artist Dave McKean on a new work called An Apes Progress. Poems about Manchester's people and places, a story about a monkey, colourful film noir, a Norwegian accordion player and a fantastic Englishman, as Ian is known abroad. We couldn't have envisaged a more striking creation for our anniversary. Or could we? Because also commissioned this year is something very special from one of Manchester's cherished musical mavericks, John Ellis, who is this year's commissioned composer under the Owen Mitchell MJF original scheme. There's a marvellous serendipity and convergence in this event. Not only have Owen Mitchell continued to support this groundbreaking scheme for creative, innovative new work by regional artists, but John headlined the very first jazz festival back in 1996. It was a memorable day for the wrong reasons. As some of you who were there may remember, the 15th of June 1996, as well as being the date of the first MJF, was also the day the Manchester bomb exploded and changed our city forever. We had to call off the entire event before a saxophone had reached anybody's lips. Considering one band due to play with John Ellis's Big Bang, I've been wondering whether we tempted fate that day. But jump forward to 2015, and John is a cherished musical polymath. He's played such a major supportive role in the Manchester music scene that we simply had to award this opportunity to him in this, our anniversary year. And so appropriately, John will create Evolution, Seeds and Streams, to address some universal thoughts on evolution with music. He's working with the animator Anthony Barkworth-Knight, who will be integrating immersive projections within the piece. And fittingly, the premiere will take place in the Gothic grandeur of the Great Hall inside Manchester's Town Hall. You can find out more about these highlights and the rest of the programme at manchesterjazz.com, and join us for what promises to be an exhausting but memorable 20th Manchester Jazz Festival this summer.